Hey, y'all. Hey. We are back with Mirror Talks for the month of September. I am going to give everybody a moment to come in. Let me share this with my people. Let's see. Let's make sure we're live on YouTube. Because I cannot see if we are live on YouTube. I don't see it. Hold on. Okay. Y'all, before we bring our guests up, I need to make sure it is streaming on YouTube. So give me 1 second. Because I don't see it. Oh, we are live. Okay, I see it. Okay, but how do I get to it? Oh, here we go. Here we go. All right, y'all. We're going to share this out and we're going to get started. Because those who don't catch it tonight, you definitely can catch the replay. Okay. All right. So I'm going to give it a couple of seconds. I just shared it out. And let's see. If you can hear me, can y'all say something in the comments, please? I see somebody watching. I see the numbers going. And I'm about to send this to your brothers, your cousins, your uncles, all of the people, all of the men in your life. If there's a black man that you absolutely love, share this for me, please. Okay, perfect. So I'm not going to prolong the time. I'm going to go ahead and bring up our speaker, and then we're going to get started. Look, I'm saying speaker like we at church. Lord, I'm so churchy. I can't help it. I can't help it. So y'all, this is Mr. Tory Bryant, and I didn't even share this with him before I started, but I'm gonna tell y'all how I met this. I mean, and you probably don't even remember this. We met like briefly years ago in Chicago, and you probably don't even remember, like years ago.
Yeah.
It was 2016.
Okay.
The- was it World Changers? I think it was World Changers.
Okay.
Um, and you were the reason. As soon as we got to Chicago, we went to Harold's.
And I love.
That was my very first time having Harold's. It was an experience for sure. Like you hyped it up. It was good, but I have just watched him on social media. I love the churchiness. I love the realness. He's just an overall amazing young man. And so when I was thinking about who I wanted to have on for the month of September, and y'all know I'm gonna be deep. So the Lord literally like showed me his face. And mind y'all, we don't really communicate like that, do we? Like on social media. Like I see your stuff every now and again, but I literally like we don't talk all the time. Like that. So when the Lord showed me his face, I sent him a message. I asked him, would he come on and have a little discussion with me? And he obliged. And so now we're here. So I want him to just tell us a little bit about him. And then we're going to dive into what September is and what the podcast series of Reflections of a Black Man will be.
Cool. So I'm first of all, I love the Lord. I am a believer. And I am very serious about my walk with God and my history with God. So that's most important. And then I'm born and raised on the south side of Chicago. I love Chicago. I love being from Chicago. It's like one of the best privileges in my estimation. I went to what you call Chicago Vocational Career Academy on the what we call the east side of Chicago. So yeah, I'm an inner city, just an inner city youth in Chicago. Like I said, I grew up in church, raised by my mom, myself, and my brother, single mother, and yeah. So I'm navigating through life as a black man. I love being a black man. Like when I say like to me, I tell people this all the time. If I was to die and come back, and if I had a choice to choose any other race, I would choose a black man every single time. It's like the greatest thing for me, and I'm very serious about that. So I'm vocal about that. I say that proudly. So of course I am a Harold's Chicken enthusiast. All things Harold's Chicken, all things Chicago hood food, just all things Chicago in general. I am in a space where I'm branching out into entrepreneurship. So that is something that I want to, at some point, use my voice as it pertains to young black men in inner city spaces and to help jumpstart them on their entrepreneurial journey. So that is a desire of mine. I am an ordained elder and minister. So I'm a preacher. I've been preaching since I was a kid. Like I said, I've been walking with the Lord a long time. So that's pretty much it about me on a more of a broad surface level.
Okay, I love it. I'm all things churchy over here. They talk about me bad, but baby, I love the Lord. So y'all, we gonna hop into it. So if you were a part of the July series, first of all, y'all, MirrorTalks wasn't even supposed to be a thing. Like when the Lord does a thing, he does it and it just kind of springs forth. And so Tori, you might not know this, but I created a journal. Oh, here it is. This is called Beyond the Mirror. This is my self-care journal. It's about the whole person. It's actually a unisex journal, but because of the cover, brothers ain't finna go by that. But it's actually a unisex journal, and it's just speaking to the whole person. Um, just like diving deep into like just making sure that you and your full totality are just like whole and healed and all of the things. And so what started as me just doing a series with women to promote the journal turned into I guess now I can publicly say it. Now, Mirror Talks is now going to be a full fledged podcast where I am going to have speak. Lord, why I keep saying speakers? I'm so churchy. I'm going to have guests on talking to them about various topics. The one thing that I noticed about myself when it comes to conversation, I don't really shy away from any topic. I'm the person that you can have the taboo subjects with. I'm the person that you can talk about the controversial pieces with. And so that's what Mirror Talks has turned into, you guys. And so while July we were talking to the women, it kind of came to me one night and I was like, I want to hold space for black men. I don't feel like a lot of black men have healthy platforms. And again, I don't know all of the platforms because I'm not a black man, but I just don't see enough healthy platforms where a black man can vocalize what he wants to say and not be talked over.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying all of this in the beginning because I'm going to ask the questions, but it's not a lot of feedback that y'all gonna get from me in this series because this is for the black man. I'm not a black man. I'm just raising two. That's all. So I'm gonna go ahead and dive into the first question, which you pretty much answered it. Just what is a black man to you? What does being a black man? And you say, honey, if I got to go and come back again, we coming back as a black man. I love it. I feel the same way as a black woman. I wouldn't want to be any other race. Like I'm gonna come back as me every single time. So let's dive into it. Wait, are these your questions? Lord, these aren't your questions. Hold on.
Yeah, all good.
Here we go. Okay. As a can I say this? As a single black man today, what do you feel people most misunderstand about singleness?
Um, man, that's loaded. First and foremost, I think people look at singleness as a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. Quite honestly, the older I get, the more I realize marriage is not for everybody. It's available to everybody, but it's not for everybody. And I respect a person who can be honest with themselves and say that marriage is just not for me. And those people are starting to be, well, I'm starting to see like more celebrities say that they don't want to be married. I was actually watching a show the other day. It's like Pop the Balloon show, and there was an African guy. He was expressing how he absolutely did not want marriage, but he's on the dating show. So of course, most of the guests, obviously, they'll say, regardless if they mean it or not, that they desire marriage. And marriage, again, marriage is a beautiful thing. It's biblical. God intended for marriage to be an institute in the earth between one man and one woman. So I think again, marriage is beautiful, but at the same time, singleness is also beautiful as well, because singleness, it gives you opportunity to become more in tune with yourself before you open up your world to someone else to come in. So I think the best thing to do is utilize your singleness um, to your advantage. I think it's an opportunity for you to get to know yourself, work on some character things, just become more self-aware. And again, it just gives you the opportunity to perhaps do more with your time. So I think singleness is a beautiful season, but if you're, whenever you feel like that season is up, be honest with about that with yourself, and I think that's okay too.
And so, with that question, I want to couple it with this. And you kind of answered it, but I want you to go a little bit further. So, do you feel singleness is often viewed as a season of lack or a season of preparation?
I think it depends on who you're talking to,
Okay.
because everybody has a different perspective of singleness. It's like, I'll be honest with you, I don't. I mean, I appreciate. I'm glad. I'm grateful for my single space, but I don't want to be single anymore. So I'm honest about that. You know what I'm saying? But I've become. I'm glad personally. I'm glad I waited to this point and not just rush into a marriage because I felt like, yeah, I want to be married, but then I didn't do, the necessary inner work. So I look at singleness. It's a preparation state. And I feel like you can't completely like completely prepare for something that you've never done. However, you can utilize the time being single, preparing as much as possible. And then I think that's perhaps when your view and perspective of singleness will change. You don't see it as like, oh, I'm miserable or I'm lacking, have enough or I am not enough. That's not how singleness should be viewed, and that's not how it should be handled. If anything, you should look at singleness and wear it in a way that you understand that I have so much to offer that I'm not going to offer it to anybody. And that I believe will change your perspective and views as it pertains to being single.
So can I? Well, I just want to ask: Are you late 30s, middle 30s, early? I don't know how old you are. So this
I'm early 30s.
early 30s. Okay. So and you said that you are happy that you waited. Um, my grandma said something a few years ago that I resonate with. She said it's better to be married later and longer than to get married earlier and you on your second, third. Because I'm 37 and I know people my age who are like on their third divorce.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
And so when you just said that you're grateful that you waited, honestly, maybe a week ago, I found myself in that space,
yeah.
grateful that I haven't just married anybody because marriage is sacred to me. It's serious to me,
Hmm.
and I just want to do it one time. I mean, I know that ain't everybody's story, but I just want to do it one time, one and done. Okay, so now we're gonna dive into some heart questions. Do you feel pressure from culture, family, or even the church to hurry up and marry? Just not even just for you, but like in general. And if so, how do you navigate that?
Uh, so again, I'm a church boy. So,
Hmm.
and I was again being a young charismatic preacher. I was a quote unquote boy wonder preacher. So it was very common for. I mean, I was like 18, 19, 20. If I had $1 for every time somebody came up to me and said something about a wife, I'd be a very wealthy man because that is the culture's way of kind of passively pushing you into marriage because of what marriage looks like. However, me being a very independent thinker, very free mind, and I didn't even have I wasn't even aware of how much of a free thinker I was at the time. But I yes, to answer your question in short, yes, like again, church, family, all sorts of things, and again, if I were really naive and
Hmm.
if I responded to that pressure, then I would have just grabbed any woman, just to say, hey, I have a wife, and again, create that image, that clean, because it's like a clean cut, clean, like good boy image. But for me, that's a cop out for me personally, because I think that you could marry somebody and you still have so many inner wars and inner conflicts. And
Mm,
I personally believe, and again, just in fairness, I don't believe you're 100% ready when you first get married. Like marriage. I think again, marriage is a lifelong journey. You are growing every day. Your spouse is growing every day. So you're going to grow in areas. Marriage can grow. It can grow you up in ways that being single cannot. However, I just don't think it's wise to just jump into it just because people are putting pressure on you to do so. I think it's ultimately a decision that you have to make, and what that looks like for you. That's completely um, predicated on who you are as an individual.
okay, I love that. So as a black man, how do you balance a vulnerability and masculinity and like not just dating but relationships? in general?
Um, like I said, just going back, I'm always gonna point back to self-awareness. I think again, masculinity is being redefined every single day, in our context, our culture, which is a whole nother conversation. But I think it sh- being vulnerable should not take away from a man's masculinity. In fact, probably one of the greatest expressions of strength, especially when you are talking about being vulnerable. If you're talking about being vulnerable in a relationship, even outside a relationship, like understanding what that looks like, that means you're where you can literally be honest about how you feel. Unfortunately, within our context and in our community, when black men express themselves, of course, his sexuality, his manhood, things of the sort, are immediately brought into question. So it distorts his perspective and view of masculinity, because he now feels that it is more masculine to conceal his feelings as opposed
Mm-hmm.
to express his feelings. So now you create a cycle of black men who are emotionally imprisoned, and they don't have the space, or they don't have the outlets to be able to express themselves and to just say exactly how they feel, what they're dealing with. And I think that now, I think it is refreshing to see now where we hear about more black men embracing therapy, counseling, and focusing more on mental health. It is like literally a breath of fresh air, because me myself, I was a late bloomer in that regard, because I didn't have any examples of what it meant to be an expressive black man. But I started to embrace counseling like in my late 20s, early 30s. And it's probably one of the best decisions I could have ever made in my life.
So
So,
I'm a kind of stay right here for a second. Um, being that this is something like you're, I don't want to say just doing, but you're new to, what can be done in these spaces to continue that path for black men to know that it's okay to be vulnerable. And I ask that because, like I said, I'm raising two little black boys, and sometimes people have an issue how outspoken my children are. But I look at it like this: if, and this is just what I've seen, a
mhm.
lot of time black boys are told to shut up, be tough, don't you cry, yada yada yada. And then you grow up and you're automatically supposed to be this emotionally available man
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
woman. You
yeah,
can't stifle in one season and express, and if and then expect expression in the next season just like that. And so, like, because you still have the too hard crew, the ones that's just, you on one end you had a church that tell you you just need to pray about it, you just need Jesus, you don't need therapy. You got the other hand, you got the street thing, and if you go to therapy you cry. Like, so where is the medium where we can get our black boys? Because I feel like if we catch it while they're younger, you don't
yeah.
have so much to fight with when they're older.
That's true. Well, I'll say this: like, I think all things start at home.
Mm.
Um, that's the foundation. So if there's a lack in the home, then quite naturally, the child, specifically boy, is going to find uh he's going somewhere to fit. And oftentimes, if he doesn't have proper examples with his immediate reach, he's going to find outside that he's going to identify with. And unfortunately, our young black boys are being raised on the school, raised by music. They're being raised
Mm-hmm.
because there's, first of all, father absence is that's an issue, or and historically has been an issue, which I'll save that. I'll put that to the side for a moment. But statistically, I read this about maybe about 3-4 years ago. I was looking up how the how a father being present impacts a daughter, and how it impacts a son, and how a young man with a relationship with his mother impacts him, even if he doesn't have a father. And those sort of statistics, I don't have it in front of me. I wish I did. But when we look at it from a broad perspective, we have to acknowledge that when young black men have the presence of both father and mother, then they are likely going to be more productive citizens in society. But even outside of that, they'll perhaps, and I'm not talking about just having a mother and father in the home, but I'm talking about having the voice of their mother, the voice of their father, the affection of the mother, the affection of the father. All of those things play into how a young boy grows into being a man, and it plays into how he treats women, how he approaches women, how he appreciates women, how he respects women, and ultimately himself. So it's going to have to start at home. But then if it does not start at home, then you have, brothers like myself and the like who have platforms, who have voices that are going to have to reach down low, to really lift young black men up and let them know, hey, I know society may tell you that it's not okay to cry, but I'm here to tell you as a strong black man, as a real black man rather, that the greatest expression, the greatest demonstration of strength is when you can be vulnerable with who you are, and you can really be in tune with how you feel. And it's okay. That doesn't mean you have to broadcast it to the world, but sit in how you feel and just acknowledge it. I'm not okay today. I'm not having the best day. I'm feeling XYZ. I'm hurting. I'm empty. I'm whatever. And find a channel and a space to be able to express that. So we have to create safe spaces for our young black boys, because if we don't, unsafe spaces are created by default. So they're naturally going to navigate to those unsafe spaces, because those unsafe spaces, they appear to be safe, but down the line, they can have damaging, lasting effects.
Oh, that was good. I'm gonna have to watch the replay to get that bar that you just said, because that was good. Um, hmm. Okay, so we're gonna segue back to I wanna ask this question. Has there been a pivotal moment where you realized God was using singleness to refine your identity and character?
um, hmm. I say yeah. I could say yes. And maybe not directly using singleness, but I'll say while I was single, I realized that I had a deep mother wound. And this is because I love my mom. But my mother raised, again. I had, the older I got, the more I realized my mother was literally raising two young black boys in a city like Chicago, by her, without
Okay.
my father. I grew up without my father. And again, love my father, appreciate him, but I realized what he didn't have. But now this is grown man me talking. Younger me didn't understand. It was just, I knew how it felt, perhaps not to have a relationship with and they not gotten, my mother was not really with us, but again, at least that's how we see it. She couldn't be raising myself and my older brother. But I will say, I said all that to say, when I was about maybe 27, 28, I had to dig deep into what that mother won't look like. And again, I did that as a single man, and it caused me to really like do some self-searching and understand, well, maybe this is why I respond to things like this, or maybe this is how, maybe this is why I show up in relationships like this. And again, I got to that space while being single, and this is actually where I started to embrace counseling and therapy, because and again, it took a relationship for me to see this. And I often tell people, relationships don't reveal the other person; they reveal you. You're never going to know your inconsistencies, your inadequacies, your shortcomings, and things that you really need to work on, or blind spots, until you are in a space romantically and even sometimes platonically with another person or another party. So me being, single as in unmarried, it I took a space and that was revealed to me. So that's when I started to make the necessary steps to do some self-searching and look within myself and figure out, like, okay, I got to confront this. I got to deal with this. And it's best to do it while I'm single, because it'll probably be a little bit harder when I'm already married, and then you got children involved and stuff and things of the sort. So, yeah. So I hope I answered that question thoroughly.
No, you did. It's your answer, so you did. I love that though. I want to take too much of your time because you know I could talk, honey.
Are you good?
Let's see. You kind of already answered that. Okay, what would you say to young black men who, or not even just young black men, period, who struggle with purity, self discipline, or emotional control in singleness?
Man, when I tell you, um, sex. First of all, I heard Devon Franklin say this, and it's so powerful. When I make this, I use this principle in my personal life that you can't compartmentalize discipline. So if you can be disciplined in one area, you should be able to be disciplined in all areas. And of course, speaking as a single man, a black man, again, I am 100% man. If you can discipline yourself below the belt, I guarantee you, you can discipline yourself financially, or you should be able to discipline yourself financially. You should be able to discipline yourself in your diet, your workout regimen, your health, because you've literally told the thing that presents itself to be a weakness. You told it that you don't have control over me, and you made that decision every single day. And once you make that decision and start to speak to whatever that struggle is, and it's and all, believe it or not, all men don't struggle with their sexual discipline. All men don't struggle with that. There are some men out there that are sexually disciplined. Now, largely, that may not be common, but again, you have to be intentional about it. But you also, in order to be intentional about it, you got to know you. I know me. I know me better than anybody. And so I've learned not to put myself in uncompromising positions. I've learned not to entertain certain conversation. I've learned not to even waste time. If I literally don't see a future in anything I'm involved with, I immediately pull out of it because it makes no sense to waste my time, and it makes no sense to waste her time. And that's one of the things that I'm very intentional about, and becoming intentional about. So, just creating discipline around that. There's so many benefits to it. And again, it's psychological. There's a mental freedom that comes with having that type of sexual discipline, and discipline in other areas. So again, if you can discipline yourself in that area, it transcends into other areas.
Let me tell you what's so funny when you say that. Everybody know my story. Everybody know how long I've been abstaining, but this ain't what it's about. I'll never forget, like the first year. I did my first year, and I was good. Um, but you human, you got feelings, and the older you get, them feelings get the burning a little bit higher. But I remember the Lord telling me, and I would never forget this. I was trying to like you just said, you cannot compartmentalize discipline. So I had been doing good in this one area, but I was struggling with like eating good and like eating healthy or whatever. And the Lord literally told me, He said, if I can't trust you to like be disciplined in what you put in your mouth, how do you expect to be trusted in not putting something somewhere else? And that thing like hijacked me, and I was like, oh, wait a minute.
That's
Huh?
that's powerful.
Like that thing hijacked me, and I was like, whoo, okay, Lord. And so even now, in everything I do, I take that scripture, do it to the glory. What is it? The glory. Do it to the glorification of God. Like do it as unto God,
Yeah.
because yeah, do it as unto the Lord. Because I lose the weight and then I get it back. You know what I'm saying? And the Lord was like, because you're vain. You're doing it for vanity. You're not doing it because this is my temple and this is what I need you to use to preach my gospel. No, you're doing it because you want to look good. So if you do it as unto me,
Good.
you're gonna see results long lasting. You know what I'm saying? So I love that. That was good. Man, you cannot compartmentalize discipline, okay? Y'all
And I
heard it from
and even if I could go
Go ahead.
Because I mean that is largely who I am. But if you look at 1 Corinthians 6:18, I believe Paul told the Corinthian church, which were men he was writing to, he told them to flee fornication, flee sexual sin. Fornication is such a dated term. Flee sexual sin, run from it. And he goes on further in the chapter. He says, when a person commits sexual sin, they sin against their own bodies. Every other sin is outside of the body except sexual sin. He tells you to run from it. So anything you got to run from, that means it's chasing you. And so if it's chasing you, this means you have to always be in a position where your back is turned to it. And what that means is you're not neglecting or dismissing the fact that you have these desires. They're real. They're real desires. And you don't have to hit a switch to turn them on. And you didn't ask for them. They're very human. However, when we submit these things to the Lord, to the Holy Spirit, he is our outlet, because the scripture also says, Paul said, there's no temptation that has taken us, but such as is common to man. But God, who is faithful, will always provide a way of an escape. So even in, those moments of temptation, God always provides a way out. But you personally have to make sure you're pursuing those ways out. If you know you can't be alone with a woman without going the extra step, then just don't do it. Stay in public spaces. And if you know talking on the phone past a certain time, if that triggers something, then you need to set a boundary, and boundary which is so important.
Even that though, you have to know yourself. We were having a conversation the other day, and one of my friends was like, she ain't waiting to kiss. So because the clip from, what's her name? Um Pinky Promise. Heather Lindsay and Cornelius was floating around about them not kissing until their wedding day. Now I know a couple that waited until their wedding day. They did not kiss until their wedding day. But it's like you just said, you have to know you. And if you know that one kiss can lead you,
Yeah,
then do what's best for you. Because people like to joke and say, oh, it ain't that serious, but you don't know what they wrestling with. Like, you don't know what that's going to lead to for them. So that right there, that's good. I absolutely agree.
definitely.
Um. Oh, okay. So I got two more. I'm gonna let that be the last one. If you could tell, no, we just said that. Never mind. You know what's funny? Most of these questions you kind of like already answered them within the. I love that though. Like, you tapped in. You tapped in. Um. Okay, this a good one. And then I got one last one about legacy, and that's it. So, what is one misconception you would like women to understand about single black men who are pursuing God? I'm a mute for this.
Oh man, a misconception. Again, that all single black men within the context of Christianity are looking for marriage. Paul said in I believe it's 1 Corinthians 7:2, 7:1, or 7:2. I think he said, I would that the widowed and unmarried remain as I. Again, Paul was a single man, but he remained single. He remained single for the work of the ministry. And so I believe that if you see a single man and he's committed himself unto the Lord, he's living a what you call a consecrated life, especially in the regard of marriage, or he's abstaining from marriage, or he's submitted himself to the Lord to abstain, make sure he's abstained from sexual immorality. um I think it's very important to respect that. If you know his story, just respect it. And I'll give you one that's more practical. So like, if me as a single man, if I compliment you, that doesn't necessarily mean that I want you. Um, if I'm nice to you, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm flirting with you. Um, if the Lord has not showed me that you're my wife, He certainly did not show you that I'm your husband. So it, we got to stop that. That's a common thing, and just I don't know, like if a decent man shows up at church, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's trying to get married. Sometimes he just chilling. You know what I'm saying? And it just if that is the reality, that's his reality. Respect that, because again, we live in a space where it is very common to try to like piece people together or like force people into marriage. And sometimes it's very subtle, but it's just like, if that's not where I am, that's not where I am. And that is okay. Like, that's perfectly fine. Again, I desire marriage and I don't shy away from that. I'm not quiet about that. I don't want to be single anymore. It's just, I mean, that's my reality. But in me knowing that I don't want to be single, I'm still doing the work every single day as a single man to make sure that when the time comes for me to be married, I am my absolute best self. That I can be the best husband, the best father that I can be, and that I'm not again going jumping into something just because like I met a nice woman. It's like, all right, that don't mean you got to marry her. Get to know her, take some space, date her, intentionally date. And that's another thing. That is another thing. We have got to be intentional about what dating looks like. Um, some people fall in love on the first hello, and it's like, I get it. Some people, what you call hopeless romantics, and some people they fall quickly. Whatever, like, no judgment, but at the same time, I think that you got to make sure, because I mean, we put on our best self in the beginning. Everybody is a refined, perfect version of themselves in the beginning, but take some space to get to learn that person. I heard this a few times. I remember the first time I heard it, they said, "Don't marry a person without seeing them get absolutely upset and angry, and see how they respond in that moment." And that can be, or that should be one of the things, not ultimately the ultimate decision, but that should be one of the factors that you pay attention to. Like, when this person is completely upset, this is how they respond. So yeah, so I say all of that, um as it pertains to, I think you said, Chris, said again.
Just a misconception.
Yeah, misconception. Man, that's every in the church looking for a wife. That's just, it's untrue. And I think that if he's not, respect that. You know what I'm saying? Don't marry the man in your head, and marriage is not on his mind, because now you're creating a false reality within yourself, and that's just not something that he's interested in. So yeah.
You know, we live in Delulu land sometimes. I'm gonna actually, when we get off here, I'm gonna send you the video I posted last week. But I felt it so I do a lot of stuff comically,
Yeah,
but I literally made a video telling women that just because a good man or just because he's a man of God doesn't mean he's your man.
facts.
Like, if he has not expressed interest, baby girl. And I'm speaking for like me too in prior seasons, because you talked about a person that fall in love, baby. Give me 3 to 5 business days. I don't say hopeless. I am a hopeful romantic. I love love, but that part, I love that. Y'all women, just because that man hold the door open for you, just because he smiled, just because he compliments you, does not mean he wants you, and that's okay. It's somebody that wants you, but it just might not be that man. So
And
I have. Go
I
ahead. Go ahead.
if a man really wants you, trust me, you're going to know that that man wants you. I don't know any other way to put that. He may not. Some men are not as they're not as confident to approach you, but sometimes they'll throw hints. You know what I'm saying? And some men are just, they'll just walk up and just say what it is. But again, if a man really wants you,
So let me ask this, and you don't know me from a can of paint. I have been told that I am intimidating. Like, I'm not approachable. I don't know why. I that's but Give a sister just a little advice when it comes to, like you just said, some. Well, I guess I'll ask the question like this: what are your views on women shooting shot, not pursuing? Because people hear a woman shooting the shot and automatically say that she's pursuing a man. I feel like a woman shooting her shot is letting it be known that there's interest, and if so that he can know if he's interested, there's a mutual interest. How do you feel about that?
I did a whole about this. First and foremost, uh, we have to realize the day and age we live. Okay, we got social media. We didn't have social media back when I was growing up in the '90s and stuff. But I don't think there's anything wrong with a woman expressing her interest in a guy. I think when it's frowned upon, I just think it's so bent out of shape, and it has such a negative connotation. A woman can express interest in a man and still retain her integrity as a woman. Facts. That doesn't mean she's throwing herself at him. She's just expressing interest. If she's bold enough to tell him, or if she might tell a friend of a friend, or whatever the case is, there is nothing wrong with that. Again, you took the words right out of my mouth. Expressing interest and pursuing is not the same. I would never tell a woman to get down on her knee and propose to a man. I would never tell a woman to ask a man to be exclusive and commit to her. I would never tell a woman to do that. That's the responsibility, I believe, historically, that is on the man. But a verse of scripture that is wildly taken out of context. I did a whole. I think I deleted the live, but I wish I would have left it up. But I got a pretty good response, and I got obviously a lot of opposing views. But Proverbs, I believe it's Proverbs 6:18, when it says, "Whoso findeth the wife findeth the good thing, obtain favor from the Lord." Okay, first and foremost, let me start by saying the writer of that verse was King Solomon historically, and Solomon was a polygamist. He had multiple women. He had 700 wives. I believe he had 700 wives and 300 concubines. And that wasn't including princesses that he had. If you look at, I think it's Second Kings 11. I believe it's Second Kings 11, when the scripture says that Solomon was in love with many strange women. That word strange translates to mean foreign. That literally was talking about women that had hearts for other gods. They were raised in different contexts, different spaces. So they grew up in idolatrous spaces. They didn't know his God. And so when Solomon wrote that verse, essentially what he was saying was, out of all of the women that I have, can I find one who has the heart for my God? That's in context. That is what that verse is saying. It is not suggesting that a man is to go out and find a wife per se. It's not suggesting that. That's not what that verse means. So that verse has been kidnapped, and it has been used to create this mentality that a man goes to find a wife. Now, is that true? I believe yes. However, I don't necessarily believe that taking that verse of scripture is dismissing the fact that a woman especially in our modern society, can express her interest in a guy. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Now, again, retain your integrity. Don't throw yourself at a guy. Don't be what we call thirsty. That's the term we use in our context. But again, there's nothing wrong with expressing interest. That man is either interested or he's not. And it's simple as that. Now, I do believe you have to be careful. You have to use wisdom. I do believe that. But at the same time, I don't think that it's a problem. And unfortunately, society has created this stigma around it. It's like, nah. Because I put it to you like this. I use an example where you may have women who are self-sufficient, they're wealthy. And women are dominating spheres that they did not historically. So a lot of times men might be intimidated, and they may not approach a woman because of how she comes off or how she looks. Whole time he's like, man, like, he probably within himself, he head over heels in love. If that woman has interest, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Again, once you plant the seed, all right, it's up to that man to take it from there. Now, if he's not giving you the energy that you feel is necessary, okay, then perhaps you should disconnect from that thing, and then move on. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. We got to stop that. It is so, to me, it's so socially irresponsible. It's very socially irresponsible.
I'm gonna say this because I feel like I'm talking to my friend now. Like you, my friend now in my head. I'm gonna say two things, and I'm gonna ask the last question, and we out of here. So you just blew my mind. Like when I tell you, I'm going to go back and watch, and I really don't watch my stuff over because I don't like hearing my voice. But you just dropped so many gems. I did a study on that. He who find a wife find a good thing, and so I do my studying out of the Blue Letter Bible app.
Yep.
And so when I went and I looked up find this, it also meant to be presented.
Yes.
How can you be presented if you're not, you know what I'm saying? So that like that even freed me from, because I'm a talk, like I'm confident in a lot of areas.
Yeah.
And so sometimes if I see something, I'm gonna say something. If it's a yes, if it's a yes, it's a yes. If it's a no, it's a no. I'm good. But to your point about that scripture, I just really feel like we do Christians a disservice throwing that. Well, I'll say Christian women, because like you said, you can express interest and not be thirsty and not be, out here getting down on one knee. But they doing it to her. They is getting down on one knee. They doing it.
Which is wild.
And I be wanting to throw a book at them and say, girl, get up. But they is how you're doing it. Secondly, the point you just made about, and I'm very transparent, so I always give just little nuggets about me. So y'all, the other day, I was having conversation with a gentleman that I have known for a while. We recently, I guess you want to say, started exploring more than friends territory. And we all grown. Mother Nature was in town. And I was very hormonal. And I just expressed that I wanted to talk. I just wanted the company of a man. Sometimes you don't want to talk to your homegirls. Sometimes you just want to talk to the opposite sex. And I'm talking about just having a conversation with the opposite sex, right? Tori, you want to know what that man told me? That man told me to go eat some chocolate.
Dang, that's good.
And I said, surely my future husband would not tell me something like that.
Yeah.
When I tell you, I called my homegirl and she was like, Mercedes. He said, what? I said, yeah, I'm done. Like, I'll say that all to say, ladies, you got to know what you can deal with. You got to know when a man is showing you that he does not have the capacity. Because here's the thing, you know what you deserve. And the same with men. Y'all know what y'all deserve. Like, the whole debate about like the dates and the money and like, I was just telling one of my mentees, I think she 18 or 19. She was talking about this guy want to take her out with the woo. That baby said, "Oh, I want him to take me." Da da da. I said, if he got up from the table and he left, could you pay for the check? She said no. I said, don't you ever require of a man that you can't do for yourself.
Exactly.
When you are first getting to know somebody, don't you ever require of somebody that you can't even do for yourself. That's crazy. That's why I tell people all the time, when I think of first dates, let's go grab some coffee. Let's go on a walk. I don't even know if I like you enough to spend money on you. But I'm getting off my soapbox, y'all. Huh?
I feel like that.
This is my last question. This is a good one. You're gonna help the men of God. Well, no, this is actually for you. So, what legacy do you want to leave behind? Not just as a man, not just as a black man, but as a man of God.
Man, that's so loaded. I don't know, just like you can be and do anything that you set your mind and heart to do. And if whatever you set out to pursue, make sure you do it 10 toes down, make sure you give it everything you got, and stand on it. And I'm learning that every day. Even now, I'm learning that. And I guess I don't know. It's for me. It's very hard to say. It's hard for me to leave that black man part out because that's so much of who I am and what I love. And I don't know, when I leave this earth, I want to be able to say that I encouraged a multitude of black men to be proud in their black skin, proud of who they are as black men. Yes, be proud of who you are as a believer, as a Christian. That is important, obviously. But don't dismiss the fact that you are a black man, especially if you are a black man in America. So I would love my voice to be given to any extent to speak to that of black men. Of course, I am a believer, so that is always going to be foremost my most important space and arena. But just in general, for me, if you're a Christian, if you're a Muslim, if you're agnostic, if you're a black man, my voice is to you. And we can figure out everything else, but you cannot erase your blackness. You can't scrub it off. You can't wipe it off. You can't detox it. You cannot. You are a black man. You can change your skin all you want, but you cannot change the fact that you're a black man, and be proud of that. Wear it proudly.
I love that. Before you go, I got a question for you, Tori. One of the viewers on Facebook asked, "Is it wrong that he wants to be a father more than a husband?"
He, uh, I would say
In context, he is an educator. He's an amazing teacher.
okay.
I know him personally, but that's one of the questions that was just asked.
So this is a
Yes, it's a man.
I think um hmm, that's
But adoption is a thing. I'm just put that out there.
I was about to say adoption is definitely a thing, but it's still raising a child without that feminine presence, that natural nurturing presence. Because it's just certain things we as men don't have naturally, and vice versa. It's certain things that women don't have naturally. Um, do I think it can be done? Yes, but it do I think it's easy? Absolutely not. But I won't. I mean, I won't speak against anything that a person does with the right motive. If you say you absolutely don't want marriage, who am I to convince you otherwise? If you say you want to be a father, who am I to convince you otherwise? So I think it can be done, but I think it's complex. And it has to be, again, it has to be done with intention. Um, and you still have to make sure that there is some sort of feminine presence. So yeah, that's that. I never heard that question before. That's a thought provoking.
Yeah, I actually know him. He's an like I said, he's an amazing educator. He called me one night last year. He's been fostering some kids, and he just called me, and it always blesses me when people call me to ask me parental questions, because it's just like, dang girl, you're really doing a good job as a parent. But he loves the kids, you know what I'm saying? Like, because he's an educator and he goes over and beyond, and I just know he wants, babies of his own. But I just wanted to ask that question because it was in the chat. Everybody said this is so good. They said you got some good points. Y'all, Tori will absolutely be back. I just have had an amazing time talking with you today. There's gonna be so much more that I'm going to do on this platform as it pertains to black men. So I hope the next time I come knocking, you say yes again if you're not busy.
Thoroughly,
But huh?
I thoroughly.
Yes, I like, this was amazing. Even though I was like rushing trying to get to the house, my son is in band and my other son play football. Like, so it was just so much happening today. And I was like, but Lord, I cannot not do this live. Like, these lives are going to matter. So again, if you did not catch it from the beginning, please go and watch it, y'all. Like, when I tell y'all, I'm gonna go back and watch it, because My boy dropped some gems, so y'all make sure that y'all go back and watch it. Tori, let them know how they could connect with you. I did hear you say that you're launching out into the deep as it pertains to entrepreneurship. If there's any way we can support you, let me know, let us know. But just give them your handles, tell them where they can follow you, where they can see you, and all of the good stuff. And then we gonna leave up out of here.
Yeah, I mean, Brain is on the screen. That's my name on Facebook. You should see me. I got on Cubs gear, and I got my Harold's Chicken Bucket. So I'm super Chicago. My Instagram handle is Tory Logic. So at Tory Logic, and that's pretty much the extent of my social media right now. I'm gonna do more, but that's how you can follow me right now. And again, I'm a regular guy. Like just follow me. Engage with me. I engage back. I'm not one of those people. So yeah, you can follow me like that. So I thoroughly enjoyed this, and I'm actually appreciative because this kind of stretched me tonight because I was silent for a while, just using my voice in public spaces. But this was actually refreshing. So I appreciate it.
Well, sir, we need your voice because and I'm gonna say this. I know you held back a little bit with that word because I know that word was bubbling up in that belly. But I'm gonna just let you know, anytime you're on my platform, honey, if that Bible come out, let it come out
Oh,
because
yeah.
that's what we do over here.
Love it in me.
But yeah, so I want to thank you again. Thank y'all for tuning in. Next week we will not be on because I will be traveling. But every Tuesday after that, y'all make sure y'all tune in 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All of September, I am talking to black men. We are talking about reflections of a black man. I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you again, Tori. And I'm gonna talk to y'all later. Bye. Well, y'all know I'm gonna be knowing how to end this.